Okay, so let me know if you can hear me. Seems to be a little bit of a lag in the video. Um, let's see. Okay, so let me know if you can hear me. Okay, guys, so I'm hearing a bit of an echo. I'm just trying to fix that issue and wait for a few people to jump on and then I'll get started. So just hang in there. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, guys, so I'm hearing a bit of an echo. Okay. I'm just trying to fix that. Thank you, sis. And wait for a few people to jump on. Okay, guys, so I'm hearing a bit of an echo. I'm just trying to fix. Okay, so just one more check. Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay, Milan, you said that you
Okay,
can't.
so just one more check. Let me know if you can hear me now.
You said you can't seem to figure out how to type in the chat. Again, if you're looking, this is my first time doing a live, so it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be a little bit of a test drive. And hopefully the next time I get on here will be a lot easier. Also, let me know if you're hearing an echo, because I'm hearing an echo still.
To figure out how to type in the chat.
Okay, I'm gonna try it again. What about now? Tell me if you're hearing an echo now. Any echo now, sis?
And once
No echo now? Okay. So I think we might actually be good. I'm just gonna give it a few more moments. Sis, see if anybody else hops on. Be patient with me. And this light, I feel like this light is mad bright. I don't know if it's just my camera, but from what I'm seeing, it's crazy bright. Um, Sis, see if anybody else hops on. Yeah, this light is Okay, guys. So I don't know if this is a regular thing. I'm actually streaming from Zoom. Maybe I'll try streaming from somewhere else, but there's a major delay. Um, Anyhow, thank you to all who are on here. Not sure who's on, but if you're tuning in, I want to share with you. Tell me, sis, before I continue, if you can hear. Fine. Don't want to say a bunch of stuff and then it's like we didn't hear anything. So one more time, just let me know if I'm loud and clear, if I need to be louder. Okay, good. Thank you so much. So there's literally like it feels like it's maybe like a 2 minute delay. So I'm gonna have to like speak and wait. But so basically I knew for a while that I was supposed to start doing lives, and I've shared this with some friends and family. And I wasn't sure exactly what the lives were going to be about until a few days ago in my meditation, where it was made very, very clear to me what I was supposed to do. And so here we are. So these lives will happen on Sundays, um, somewhere between, I think we should start at around 7:30. I was going for 7:30 today, but mommy duties were calling, so I had to see about that. But 7:30, roughly somewhere between 7:30, 7:45, we'll get, I want to get started with sharing the stories. And exactly what stories I'm talking about is love stories. So Spirit has made it really clear to me that we do overcome by our testimonies. I've shared many times before about, the difficulty of, being in this realm and dealing with a lot of low vibrations, but we have all overcome. In some way, somehow we've overcome. And the more we share our stories of overcoming, the more we share how love has literally rescued us out of our darkness, it's the more encouraging it is for each other. And the more it gives us hope to continue, trying to continue on our journey, right? And evolving as souls. So this platform, this specifically on Sundays at 7:30, I would like to invite anyone who has a testimony or a story of how they have experienced darkness and love has rescued them out of that darkness. So if you are one such person, or even if you know someone who has an incredible testimony and you think that it would be helpful to others if, they were to share that, please, encourage them to come on and to share that story so that other people can see and hear and have faith and increase their faith that they too can overcome, whatever it is that they're going through. And it doesn't matter if your story is a religious story, like some people would say they were saved through this dark time, because they found Yeshua or Jesus or whatever religion it could be. Whatever your stories, I'm not going to discriminate because I was given a very direct message, which is love. If you feel that love, experiencing love in any way, it could be love from a spouse, it could be love from a stranger, it could be love from a belief, it does not matter. If love has rescued you out of darkness, out of a dark time, whether that dark time is outside of yourself or within yourself, I am welcoming you to come on this platform and to share with others how love has rescued you out of your dark time. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go between the messages, guys, and also speaking. This is all new for me. I think this is why people have like moderators or something, right? I'm probably gonna have to get on that. So this first live is really just an invitation And also, I think I'll start it off by sharing, you know, I was thinking really before I got on here, I thought to myself, I have so many examples of how love. Hey guys, hi, Eljasan and Kimmy. um, yeah, if you're on here, just put a little message. Let me know who's watching. I'd like to acknowledge you and thank you for joining me for the first live called Love Story. Okay, so for those of you just joining on right now, I was sharing that on Sundays at 7:30, I'll be coming on to hold, how do they say it now? Hold space, hold space. All these new terms, right? I know, hey, I look a lot, I think I've heard that I look a lot younger than I am. So a lot of these new phrases that are used, it's kind of like, okay, I got to get hip to it, right? But anyways, I'm coming on here on Sundays at 7:30 to hold space, right? To be able to provide a platform for you to share with the world, well, as many people who would watch this channel, watch your video, for them to know how love is powerful, how love makes a difference, how love has rescued you out of a dark time. Whether that dark time is something you experience within yourself or outside of yourself, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so if you're interested in sharing your story, I would need to get you onto the Zoom so that you can share your story. You can email me at lovestoryforyandea@gmail.com. Okay, that's lovestoryforyandea@gmail.com. And I will give you the details on how you can join into the Zoom and share your story with anybody who feels led to click and to listen and to watch. Sometimes we feel that, our story is just so personal, or maybe it's nothing really big, it's something small, but you wouldn't believe how many people are helped just by knowing that someone else has gone through what they've gone through and they have come out on top, that they've overcome. So please never, despise the what you may think of is what you may think of as the smallness of your story. It's not at all. If it was, if it is big enough to save you, it's big enough to also help encourage and save somebody. So again, I'm inviting you out Sundays at 7:30 to listen to other people's testimonies of how love has saved them out of darkness, and also to share your own story. The amount of people who have contacted me and told me that my testimony has helped them out of some very dark times, I would have never imagined that my testimony would be this impactful, and it has been. And I think that I kind of had to go through it first to know how important it is for us to share our testimonies with each other. Okay, so if you guys see me looking around, it's just because I have some other screens up. So I'm kind of taking a look at the chat, and also down here, there's two chats going. So I kind of feel like I'm all over. But hopefully by the time I have someone on here, I will be way better at managing this. Okay, so to start off, I think I will share my testimony. And like I said, I could think of a lot of different ways that love has saved me out of darkness. But while I was getting ready to come on this live, and I was talking to Spirit, saying, oh, there's so many things, there's so many ways that you've helped me and love has saved me out of the darkness. Which one would I even share? Which one would I share? And it came to mind, what was my first dark experience? What was my first dark experience? What was the first thing that I experienced that I would consider to be darkness? And hold on, someone is saying that they can't comment. Okay, I see some people commenting, so I don't really know how they're doing it. If anybody knows how to comment on the YouTube, please type it in the chat section so that other people who are trying to figure it out. Two people now have messaged me saying that they don't know how to comment on the actual video. So unfortunately, neither do I. So we'll figure it out together. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to share my testimony. I've actually never publicly shared this. So this will be the first time that I'm sharing this, and maybe it will give you guys some insight as to who I am and how I got here, and maybe why I am the way that I am. So also, if you have any questions, you can place it in the chat. I'll try to respond maybe as we go along. There is a delay, so it might take me a little while or you a little while to hear my answer. I don't know how it's going to work, but so here we go. So when I was around the age of 12, I was in grade 7, and I'm not going to go into too many details because you know, I don't want to. We were young when this happened. We were very young, and I'm hoping that these people involved in this part of my testimony have become wonderful, loving souls. So I'm not going to say names, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. But when I was around 12 years old, I was in grade 7, and I had a friend. I thought she was a friend, and this girl wanted me to there's peer pressure, right? When you're younger. And she wanted me to be involved with some things that I didn't want to be involved in because I was raised a certain way. I'm from the island of St. Lucia, and I have amazing family, right? Amazing grandmother, especially who instilled, a lot of, values in me as a young girl. And one of those was, waiting for the right person before you involve yourself with anything, anything sexual. You wait for that right person. And so coming up here to Canada, it was a very different culture, very different culture from back home in St. Lucia. And so when I came up here, I met, I had these friends, and they were doing all sorts of stuff, all sorts of things with boys. Okay, I won't get into details, but I didn't want to do that because I had a different upbringing. And so, long story short, this girl, when her peer pressure wasn't working with me, she got angry, and she decided to tell some of the more popular girls who would be in grade 8 some lies about me. And she ended up writing on the dumpster. Well, someone wrote on the dumpster based on what she had told them, that I was a lesbian. And it was all down to the fact that I didn't want to have a boyfriend, and I didn't want to do the things that they were doing with boys who weren't even their boyfriends, right? And so because of that stance, I was made fun of. And I remember like walking down the hall and having people whispering, everybody believed what she had said. And the older girls, they were also upset because she had said that I had said stuff about them. And anyways, this was like in the beginning of a semester. This was like in earlier in the year. And so I had to go through the rest of the school year just, being teased and all of that sort of stuff, and actually very afraid because constantly there'd be these rumors that I would hear that, after school, Yandea is going to get beat up. They're going to beat her up. And so I had this one friend, I won't mention her name either. She was a great friend, and she stood by me through all of this. And anyways, the end of the school year came, and I basically got jumped, right? Like I came outside, and there was all these children were there in a circle, and I had to I had to pass through to go pick up my little sister. And these girls, they kind of came up to me and, to beat me up. And I don't know if I want to get into the details of the actual fight, but let's just say I didn't get beat up. I ended up throwing some punches And I never knew how to fight, but that was the first time that I ever experienced um, like my body moving in ways that I never knew it could move. You know, like the first girl, she swung a punch and I just kind of like matrixed. I call it matrix. I just kind of leaned back and her punch missed me and I came up and I punched her. And then it's like she got hit in her nose, all this type of stuff. And I felt really afraid because I'm like, this is the girl that everyone's afraid of and she's gonna kill me, you know, because why did I punch her? But anyways, the fight went on. I'm not going to get into the whole thing of the fight, but the fight went on. And the girl who was my friend, her boyfriend ended up tripping me and I fell. And it's a whole big thing, right? But the teachers ended up coming and then everybody kind of scattered. And then I walked home. And I remember thinking while I was walking home with my little sister, I remember thinking, this summer is going to suck because I can't go out. If these girls find me, they're going to beat me up because they didn't get to accomplish whatever they wanted to accomplish. And I threw punches and I did some damage that I wasn't trying to do. But nevertheless, I was really actually very afraid, you know, when I got home and told my parents, and the school had already contacted them. So we had to go back to the school. The police were involved. Everybody said it wasn't my fault. The teachers had also been hearing the rumors and they knew I was a good child and they knew these other children were, you know, problematic. And so that being said, I was cleared, but I was terrified and I did not want to go back to school. I didn't even want to go out, like I said, that whole summer. So what ended up happening, and this is the darkness, this is my first dark experience. And what ended up happening was I said to myself, these girls are going to kill me. So I have to find a way to kill them first. And it's funny saying that now. I mean, it's not really funny. You shouldn't, you know, probably want to do that. But I'm sharing my darkest time, my first darkest time. Okay. And I thought to myself, these girls are going to try to kill me. The only way I'm going to survive is if I kill them first. And I'm not going to mention, but I had a certain friend, and she had some people in her family who would be okay to do things like that. Okay. And so she said, you know what? I'm going to tell my family that this girl did that to me. All I need is her address, and I'll tell them that she did that to me, and they'll go after her and they'll do whatever. And then they'll beat her real good and then they'll kill her and other stuff they'll do to her. And I thought to myself, sounds good to me. I'll get you the address. And I hung up the phone with her. And I hung up the phone with her and I proceeded to, you know, look for the number of the person who I could get the address from. Now, at that time, I was in my brother's, like my little brother, actually my brother and sister, they were really small at the time and they shared a bedroom. But so I was in that room, and in that room had one of those old TVs, and you know, those TVs where you have to like turn the knob. And actually we had like a hanger. We had a hanger on that TV because the antenna was broken. And so we used to use a hanger to just kind of get proper reception, but only like on one or two channels, right? Would it work? My little brother would come in there and he would turn the knob and just play with it, play with it. And so at the time when I was talking, the TV was on and it was just on like the screen was like all, you know, fuzzy, right? Like black and white little dots on the screen and like staticky, right? And so I hung up the phone with my friend, and I'm proceeding to find this other number to get this girl's address. And the TV screen all of a sudden just goes clear. It just goes clear. And I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, what the heck? Just no one's touching the knob, no one touched the antenna, and this thing is crystal clear, right? And so I'm looking at it, and there's a man on the screen, and he's sitting like at a desk. He has like a suit on, and he's leaning like this, like forward. He's leaning like this, and he starts talking. And I can't remember word for word what he says, but he starts talking, and he says, there is somebody out there. And he says, the Spirit of God is telling me, I'm trying to do what he was doing, but it's like the Spirit of God is telling me that there is someone out there and you're planning to do something really bad right now, something that you're going to regret. And he's talking about the way that I'm feeling and all of this stuff, right? And honestly, I can't even remember what the man said. I really can't. But all of a sudden, I tuned back in to him saying, put your hand, just, he put his hand out like this and he was like, put your hand on the screen, touch me. He's like, put your hand on the screen. And I just felt my body just go forward. And I just went forward and I touched the screen. And when I touched the screen, I remember feeling just like my nose was running. It was so gross. My nose was running and my eyes and my face was soaking wet, right? My face was soaking wet. And I'm thinking, when did I cry? When did all of this mess happen? But I was touching the screen and then I was crying. And he prayed and he said, if that's you, please call this number and call this number and someone will pray for you. So and tell you like what else to do. So I called the number. I knew it was me. I was absolutely convinced it was me. Till this day, I'm convinced it's me. Obviously, it's part of my testimony. But I called the number and the person said, you I said, yeah, that's me. I was gonna kill this girl because she ruined my life and she has other people trying to kill me. So I was making arrangements to kill her, and the thing about it is that the older girls were gonna move to another school, but she would remain. So I figured, she was the one to go for, right? Plus she caused the whole thing. So, anyways, I told the person on the phone, it was a woman. I told her that, yes, it was me. I'm planning to kill somebody. And all of a sudden, my TV just went clear and this man is talking. I find myself crying and whatever. I'm touching the screen. I'm telling her the whole thing. And she's like, wow, this is a miracle. And she's saying some stuff, right? Like, oh, God must really love you. You must have a calling on your life. And she's saying all of these things. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this woman's talking about. So she says, do you have a Bible? I said, no, I don't. Do you go to church? I said, no, I don't. She goes, okay, you need to get a Bible and you need to find some way to go to church. So I said, okay. So I told my mom, I went down, I told my mom, this is what happened. My mom knew about the fight. They all knew what happened. I said, and I was talking to whoever, and she was actually going to get some family members to, it was like really bad, to do some bad stuff. I'll tell you how bad it was. They were going to, she said that they would rape and kill the girl. And I said, go for it. I have to share that because that's the darkness. That's how deep and dark. Remember, I told you my first darkness that I could remember. That's the first darkness I could remember. Desperate, scared, angry, wicked. What other words can we put there? All other types of negative. I mean, talk about a low vibration. Okay. So anyhow, what ended up happening, I told my mom and she said, okay, I'm going to find somebody who can bring you to church. And she said, I think like your aunties, hold on, I'll tell you it's a whole big thing, but it's like I call her an auntie, but she's actually like a cousin of, okay, she's more a cousin, but I call her auntie. So it's her boyfriend's brother's wife went to church. So she said, I think they go to church, so I'll let her know and then she could contact you and you'll go. I said, okay. So her name was Anita. She's no longer with us, but she's an amazing woman. Auntie Anita was the lady who brought me to church. So anyways, so she's supposed to get in touch with me. I'm just kind of waiting. I go to bed, and when I go to sleep, I have two dreams. I'm trying to see if I should get into the dreams. I'll get into one of the dreams. Okay, I'll get into both of the dreams, but not in detail because I don't think everything should be shared in detail right now. I'm not getting that. So I get these two dreams. One dream is like it's the end of the world. Okay. And why I say that, it's because I could feel it. I could feel like the world was actually burning. Okay. There was a fire that was behind me. As far as I could look to the left and to the right, there was a fire behind me, and it was all the way up to the sky and all the way, and it was a rolling fire. And there were some people with me, and the people with me, they ended up getting taken in by the fire. Okay, they ended up getting taken by the fire. The fire was just rolling, like how you would see like a big thing of hay rolling or something. It was just rolling, the whole sky, everything was just fire rolling. And I looked behind me and I could see the people just, they were just getting taken in by the fire. And I had a baby boy with me. And I remember I saw a policeman, and the policemen, I looked at them and they were floating. And I thought, wow, why is this policeman just floating and like floating above the street? And they didn't say any word to me, but they looked at me, and he had a whistle in his mouth, and he blew the whistle at me, and he told me like, come, like with his mind, he's like, and he pointed where I should go. And so I just followed the building that he told me to go into. And when I went into that building, um I could look out the back of the building, and there were all sorts of people fighting. It was crazy. At that time, we didn't have many, like the whole gay community and stuff. Back then, I mean, I'm 41 now. Okay, I was 12 years old when I had that dream. So do the math, right? It wasn't a big thing, right, back then. And so, but in the dream, I could see so many people from the gay community protesting, and black people against white people, gay people against white people, gay people against black people, all different types of, like, everything you could think about. People were protesting and fighting each other. And I had never seen so much division ever, ever. Everybody was just fighting each other. And it's like there was no electricity, and there were these like barrels. And in the barrels, people were trying to get warm. Everybody was cold at night. Anyways, and the whole place was dark. So it was like very frightful, but I was hiding out in this building. And then all of a sudden, I remember too that there were only two things to eat, right? There was like, we call it furin, but okay, so cassava. There was cassava, and there was powdered milk. That's all that was there in this building. And so I remember all of a sudden coming out, coming out of the back and then into the place where I was. Someone was coming in, and so I remember holding the baby, and I was afraid, like, oh no, these violent people, angry people from outside are coming in. And instead, it was three of the people who were with me initially. They came back through the window. I said, oh my gosh, what happened to you guys? I saw you get taken in the fire. I thought you got killed in the fire. And they said, no, the fire just purified us. And that has never, ever left me, because I saw the fire was violent. The fire was so violent. It's not a fire you'd want to be like, willfully going to the purifying fire. No, it was very violent. And even when people were being taken into the fire, they were screaming. And then they came back and they said, the fire just purified us. And I said, okay. And I was happy to see them, and I gave someone to hold the baby. And I went out. It's like I felt, like called to go to another side of the building. So I went to the front of the building. And when I looked, I could see the entire sky. Like I looked up into the sky as far as I could see in the sky. There was no fire now. It's like all the clouds were turning into colors. All the clouds, everything was turning into colors. And then they were pulling together and then starting to spiral, right? Starting to spiral. And then I remember I started floating like into the cloud. I started floating into, not just, it came like a tornado, but not violent. Just, it was all the clouds came down and started making like a tornado. And I started just going into it. And then right when I got into it, I remember I started like lifting up into it, and it was just getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And then I finally opened my eyes, like to see where is the source of this brightness. It's like there was somebody there that this brightness was coming from. And so I opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, like in the dream, like wider to see, like almost like to stare into the sun. When I opened my eyes in the dream, I ended up opening my eyes in real life. And I tried to go back into sleep. I tried to go back to sleep, and there was no going back. Because I wanted to see that person, to see who that was. And I couldn't go back to sleep. So, um, and so before that dream, so that was actually the second dream. The dream before that was, I was actually gonna like skip over it, but Spirit is like, nah, nah. So I'm gonna share it. So the dream before that one, actually, was that I was in the earth, and all of a sudden, everything started disappearing. The trees, the grass, the houses, everything just started disappearing. And I was like, what is going on? Everything disappeared out of the earth. The clouds, everything disappeared out of the earth. And the only thing left were people. And we were all just floating there because there was no ground, there was no water. It was just people floating. Everything was gone. And then in front of us came people dressed in white. They were all dressed in white, and they were all like glowing. They were people, but they were all glowing. And in the center of these people, like in the front and in the center, was again this light. And it felt like this person, whoever it was, it did feel like they were sitting. It felt like everybody else was standing, and it's like they were sitting. And it's a brightness. I can't explain to you the brightness that comes off of this person. So all of a sudden, we're all just kind of floating there, and this happens. With the light coming, everything is going, right? Everything's gone. Now we're just here, and the people are there, and this person who's sitting down is there. And I can't see them at all. It's just too bright where they are. And all of a sudden, there's a book. And the book, now, I had not read the Bible at this point. Remember, this thing on the TV has happened. And all I know is that I have to contact someone to go to church. I go to sleep, and now I'm having these dreams. So, so what ended up happening in this first one is that this book is opened, and when the book is opened, names start getting called out of this book. I kid you not, names start getting called out of this book. The girls who did that stuff to me, their names get called. In the beginning, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna get called. I thought like my name's gonna get called. Like, my name's Yandea. I'm used to my name being at the bottom of the list. For attendance, it's always like I'm the last person getting called. It's always been that way. I've always been last on the list, right? So I'm used to it. So I'm like, oh, it's probably alphabetical order, right? But no, I'm realizing some people's names are getting called, and this is not alphabetical order. However, I'm like, nope, maybe for some reason I'm a Y, it's at the bottom. Every single person in the world gets called. I mean, we went from a full thing to every single person getting called, and I was just the only person there. And I said, no, if that girl who tried to beat me up gets called, there is no way I'm not getting called. So I'm just gonna wait here. And every single person got called. So I said, excuse me. I'm like, excuse me, I think you made a mistake. My name is Yandea. You didn't call my name. And the person on the throne did like this. They just came forward to me like that. And and I remember I didn't see a face, but I could feel the energy. Could feel the energy. And I just was like, whoa. And they said, they just looked me right in myself. I can't even say in my eyes. It felt like they saw into my entire self. And they did that, and they said, you have unforgiveness. Just like that. You have unforgiveness. And when they said that, I knew I had unforgiveness. And I knew how bad unforgiveness was. I knew it. I can't explain to you how, at the sound of those words, I knew the truth. And I knew I had unforgiveness, and I knew how bad it was. And I knew that unforgiveness was, I could not get called. I just knew it. As soon as I heard the voice, I had a complete conviction that that's right. Unforgiveness is a no-no. You don't get called if you have unforgiveness. I just knew all of that. And there was nothing I could do. And that person just went. And when they went, they took everything with them. Everything went with them. Everything and everybody went with them. And I was just there floating in freaking darkness, guys. I was just floating. You don't know what that darkness feels like. That darkness is like nothing is there. There's no direction. There's nothing in front of you, behind you, under you, on top of you. There's just nothingness for as far as there's not even a far. There's just nothing. Okay. And I remember I woke up from that, and there's no nightmare that I could ever have in my life that's worse than that one right there. Mm-mm. And so I was like, I am not going back to sleep. I'm not going back to sleep. And then I ended up falling asleep, and that's when I had the other dream about the fire. Okay, so those were the two dreams I had. So one dream, the first one, I didn't want to fall back asleep. I ended up falling back asleep. And the second one, I wanted to go back to sleep to see this person, right? So now you maybe understand, like I'd already seen that person on the throne, but I didn't get to see their face. So now in the second dream, I was like, I'm gonna get to see them now. And I still didn't get to see them. So I wanted to go back to sleep, but I wasn't able to go back into that dream. So when I got up to a call from this lady, Anita. And Anita was the person who was the wife or girlfriend at the time, I don't know, of my aunt so and so. I explained that to you already. Okay. So Anita, she calls me and she tells me, she's like asking me like, how are you doing and everything. And I said to her, I'm doing well. I actually had like some bad dreams and stuff. And then she's like, bad dreams? Like, oh, what did you dream? And so I told her what the dreams were. And she said, Yandea, those are not regular dreams. She said, those are what we call prophetic dreams. And I said, prophetic, what is that? I knew nothing. Okay. So she told me, you must have the same gift that my daughter has. And she said to me, when my daughter got saved, she had the same dream that you had about the clouds coming together and all of that. And she said, before I called you, my daughter was praying and God gave her a word for you. I didn't know any of this language, okay? God gave her a word for you, to a message. And she told me that the message was that I would be the first saved out of my family, and that many people would be saved because of what God would be doing with me. So I was like, okay. And she asked me to draw or to paint the picture of what I saw. And she said she would come over and bring me a Bible, and she'd also bring the drawing that her daughter did, because her daughter actually painted it when after she had the dream. So she came by. I took my art stuff. I went outside, and I just drew to the best of my ability, painted actually with watercolors. That sucked, but I painted my that dream. And then she came, she gave me a Bible, very nice. It was like a teen study Bible, lots of colors on the front. And there was a message written there from her daughter. And it had said the message that she had got from God was there, in the scripture that went along with it. And it was so beautiful. I actually gave that Bible to my son. And just the other day, I was saying to him, you know what, like, can we get that Bible? I want to actually like read that message again. But anyhow, so I showed her what I had painted, and she gave me the drawing or the painting from her daughter. Exactly the same colors, same shapes, same everything. So, so then I started going to church with them. And after I went the first time, I saw some crazy things that I didn't even know. It was like a Pentecostal church. So anybody who remembers, not being raised in a Pentecostal church, but then, being a visitor in a Pentecostal church, I mean, one of those that, they're speaking in tongues, there's demonic manifestation, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. I was like, what the heck is this? But a very important thing, and this is the part I think that might help you guys to understand a little bit more about why I may be a little bit peculiar with this stuff. When I was at that church, I remember seeing people speaking in tongues and all of that, right? And some of them would be throwing up and rolling on the ground. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what the heck is going on? I didn't used to say hell at that time. I'd say, what the heck is going on? And anyhow, and these people, I said, I do not ever want, like, I'm running away from this thing. People are speaking in this language and then they're throwing up and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't want anything. I didn't know it was like some demonic stuff going in, right? I knew nothing at all. But anyways, that was my stance with that. Anything that looked like that spooky stuff, I don't want anything to do with it. One day I was praying, like the whole church, we were praying for this girl who had gotten in an accident. And I had my hand stretched out praying. And all of a sudden, I remember while I was praying, and I started speaking in another language while I was praying for this little girl. And I got so afraid because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to end up doing what these people were doing. My mind came into it. And I just remember I just like closed my mouth and I just sat down like, no, 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 please. But it was coming out of my heart. But it's just the fact that I had seen so many people. It looked really evil. Whatever was going on with them, it looked like from a horror show. So I did not want to do anything, that was even remotely close to that. And so I sat down and I was so afraid, but I know I was in the right place. I was praying for this girl's healing, and that started happening to me. Shortly after that, another woman started stood up and started speaking in another language. And I remember she was like a Black lady, and I was thinking, that doesn't sound like African or anything. Like, what is that? And so she was speaking, and I was understanding it. And I thought it was really weird because I'm like, it's it's nothing that I should be able to understand. Anyhow, the pastor said, is there anybody who could interpret? Is there anybody who could interpret? I didn't know what that means. I didn't know, have no clue what that meant. And so the visiting pastor stood up and started speaking. And he said something along the lines of, this house is blessed. God is going to do this. God is going to do that. God is saying this. God is saying, it was all these good things. And my auntie, Anita, who was beside me, was like, oh, wow. I said, Auntie Anita, what's he saying? And she told me, he's telling us in English what the lady said. I said, no, that's not what she said. She didn't say that. That is not what that lady said. And then she looked at me really funny, and I didn't really even understand why at the time. And she said, what do you mean? I said, that's not what she said. As I was talking to my Auntie Anita, another lady stood up and said, like, woe to you, shepherds who scatter my sheep, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that's what she said. That's what that lady said. And then my aunt said, you can interpret tongues. And I said, what? So she started showing me in the Bible, she started helping me to find myself and my giftings in the Bible. The thing about it is that these experiences also taught me that there was a lot of, let me find a word that's holy. There's a lot of bullshit. That's the only word. There's a lot of bullshit going on in church. There's a lot of people who are even pastors pretending to have the Spirit of God, or pretending. I saw that from the age 12. And I kept going to that church, and I would sit there, and the Spirit would show me things, show me things, show me things. Okay. That Bible that I had, I took that 2 months and I read that Bible. I read the Bible twice in the 2 months of my vacation, my summer vacation before I went back to grade 8. I read that Bible twice. I won't, okay. I feel like Spirit is really putting me out here today, but I'll tell you this much. When I read the Bible, how I was led to read the Bible is I would get a feeling to go read the Bible, to open it up. I would just open up the Bible, and there was a little blue light. It was like very tiny, a ball, not a flat light. It was an actual ball of light, a blue ball of light. And that light would just go, if this is the Bible, it would just appear, and it would be under the words. And I would just read it, like read the words it was under, read the words it was under, read the words, and it would disappear. And then I would be looking for it. I turn the page, and it would be there again. And it would, sometimes it would go from the Old Testament to the New Testament. And it would be, I started realizing, oh, this is sounding the same. this is sound the same. So for 2 months, it was me and the blue light. And then I went to school, and I remember I I went to New York, and I saw this man who was selling like jewelry, obviously fake stuff, but there was one that said like, I love Jesus. And I remember I got that chain, and I put on that chain, and I was like, yes, I'm going back to school. And these girls, remember, these girls are going to beat me up, right? So I'm like, you know what? It's all good. I've read about sacrifice. I know what they did to Christ. So I'm like, it's me and Jesus going back to school. And I had that chain, and it was honestly, I wore that chain like it was a talisman. I wore it like an amulet. It is really what it is. I said, if I have this chain, like I'm good, it's all good. Carrying my cross. So I went back to school, and the girls, the older girls weren't there. And turns out that I think when the older girls had gotten into the other school, when they had gotten into high school, that girl who used to be my friend, I think she had told rumors, she had spread rumors to her older sister who was in that school. So when these older girls got into the high school, there were rumors there about them, and the rumors were because of that girl. So now those girls turned back, they turned against that girl. So now that girl is not a problem for me at all, because she's scared that those girls are now going to beat her up. So she's not an issue for me at all. Okay. I couldn't even tell you what happened to her for the rest of the year. I don't even know what happened to her. She could have left the school for all I know, right? But she was totally just taken out of my life. So what ended up happening is that I was so excited to get into art class and to draw, use proper things to do this picture of that dream, because I only had like very terrible like dollar store watercolors. So I got into art class, and we had pastels and everything, and I drew out that image, and I wrote in the sky in black, the day of glory, right? The day of glory. I wrote it there in the sky. And my art teacher, I forget his name now, my art teacher, he took that and he was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm gonna hang it up in the foyer. And I was gonna get the art award that year. Okay. All based on this picture. And so, I mean, I did other stuff good too, right? But that was the masterpiece. And he took it, framed it, put it in the foyer. And I remember one day I passed in the foyer, and I looked at it and I said, why is my picture upside down? Why did he hang it upside down? And I went on to like closer to it, and I realized there was a title there, and the title said Mother and Child. And I said, Mother and Child? My painting is called The Day of Glory. Why is he calling it Mother and Child? So I went to class, and I had told him, I said, you hung my picture upside down. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's called The Day of Glory, and you called it Mother and Child, and you hung it upside down. Like, no one can see what I've drawn. And so he said, well, go get it. I got it. I brought it back to him, and I said, look, it's supposed to be this way. And he's like, what is that? And I said, but you could even see the words in black written in the sky. Like, why would you ignore that and hang it upside down? And he said, well, what do you mean the day of glory? And I said, the day of glory, it's the day when, and I went into this whole, like all my class was there. And so I went into this whole thing explaining, breaking down the book of Revelations and, about Yeshua and all of that. And he was like, I could tell he was not a believer at all, because he was just like red, and he wanted me to stop talking, but the children kept asking questions and stuff. Anyhow, and he said to me, well, you can't get the art award. If this is like a religious thing, he's like, but you could hang it. You could choose to hang it this way. I think it's much better this way as mother and child. And I remember in that moment I had a feeling like this is going to determine the rest of your life. I had that feeling at that age of 12, 13. I had that feeling. This is going to determine the rest of your life. And in that moment, I said, it can't be hung upside down. It's called the day of glory. And God gave me this vision. And this is about the future. It cannot be hung upside down. And he goes, okay, then you can't get the art award. Art award went to this other guy who who drew like comics and stuff like that, whatever. So, I remember that year I got like the kind acts award and the debating award, but it always burned me that I didn't get that art award because I love art. And but anyhow, I took that stand, and I have continued to take that stand throughout my life. Even when it comes down to things like this, a lot of people, when I've shared some of my videos, they've wanted me to take back my words, change the title, don't say this, don't say that, confess this, confess that. But little do they know that from the age of 12, I think, yeah, I would have still been 12. By the age of 12, God had already pruned me to know how to not deny whatever God has shown me. Spirit shows me something, I'm going to say what Spirit shows me. I'm not going to add to it. I'm not going to take away from it. So that's just who, yes, that's just who I am and who I am by the Spirit. So that was my darkest first time. And that is my foundation as far as like my faith. Anytime I feel like confused in the world about things, so much information, is this right? Is that, I just go back. I just go back to Yandea. You do not even know anything about the Bible. You didn't know anything about anything. And you remember you wanted to kill this girl, right? You remember the TV screen coming clear. You remember you crying and not even knowing you're crying. You remember the dream. I just go through that in my, and I'm like, okay, I may not know all the answers to should this and should that and whatever, but I know love. I know love. I know what love feels like. I know that love turned on a TV screen and kept me from killing somebody. You know, I know love. So that is and has always been my compass, you know, my compass. And this is the reason why I don't push certain things onto people, because God never pushed anything onto me. Never. I know that the love of God is beyond language. I know the love of God is beyond religion. So I don't put those limitations on Most High. Religion and these things are man made, it's not from Most High. So I don't put that. And that's why you won't get me pushing Christianity. You won't get me pushing anything. You won't even get me pushing the name of Jesus onto anybody. I don't even say Jesus. I say Yeshua, and I still won't push Yeshua onto anybody because God never did it to me. So I won't do it. And Yeshua didn't push Yeshua onto anybody. So you know what was pushed on? Love. Love, 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 love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto another what you wish that person would do to you. If you keep that, you do well, because you know what? You'll be fulfilling all of the law and all of the prophets. That's it. So that's kind of my story, guys, in a nutshell. I hope you can see how love saved me out of darkness. And I hope that you are inspired to share your story, to share your testimony. Do not compare your testimony to my testimony. I never knew the day would come where I ever said these things out publicly. I think it's only a few of us on here watching, and God knows why, because I would probably be a lot more nervous to talk about this if I saw a big, huge number there. Okay. So do you have any questions? I think people have been asking questions, and I just kind of been very present and in the zone. So let me see if there's any questions here. Hold on. How long? Someone said, how long before you realized that you were the person on the throne? That you were looking for your true face? Hey, brother, how long? I think, wow, when did I realize that? Boy, I feel like I feel like I've had baby steps, you know, in that realization. I think I finally, I think I finally fully received that realization right before I posted my last video on here. Yeah, I feel I finally received that revelation. I mean, like, you know, you tiptoe with stuff, you know what I mean? And I think I'm being very honest. My last video, the one that I said, what was it called? Go deep. Yeah, go deep, go deep. There's a whole big thing behind that. And I think that, yeah, so many things have happened to me spiritually and all of that, but it's really only recently. I could be very honest with you guys. It's only recently. I mean, when was that video posted? Does anybody know? I don't even look at it, but to keep track like that. But I think it could have been yesterday or day before yesterday that I posted that video. And I got a message from Spirit, and the message was about that. It was about stop, separate yesterday. Okay. And the message I got from Spirit was I need to really stop doing this thing that I'm doing with the separation. With the separation. The message was that I need to stop separating myself from Most High. And how I do that is when this is me maintaining emotions. This is me maintaining emotions so I don't become a wreck. Oh, how I do that is whenever Spirit will give me a message, right? Post this video, talk about this, whatever. You know, I know Spirit is telling me, but you know what? When I started getting so many negative comments, I got a little fear. I got a little fear inside of me. The fear was like, you know, am I going to handle this correctly? Because sometimes I want to cuss people off. I do. Sometimes I want to cuss people off. I want to say, I want to be like, you don't even know who the heck I am. You don't know what I believe in. Who gives you the right? You know, but I know these are my shadows. I know that these people were once me. I do. I know that. So it's like, is that what you want to say to yourself? You want to show mercy. What do you want to do, Yan? So I've been going through that. And so what Spirit was saying to me is like, you already know what you're supposed to post. Stop this thing of asking me for confirmation over and over and over again. And Spirit was showing me like, that's how I'm separating myself. Every time I get a message and I know exactly what I'm supposed to post about. And then because of fear, I allow myself to separate from that knowing and start doubting. And in that doubting, I'm asking God like 100 times, are you sure? You sure you want me to put that? Should I put that now? Can we put that later on? Are you sure? They're going to have my head for this. For example, when I shared that video, I have people who are probably on this live right now. When I shared that video, why I no longer have faith in God, I wrestled. I was like, Most High, you sure? I said, are you sure? And sure, it's like, okay, came to my mind. Show it to some people that I know would tell me that you obviously might show my husband. My husband goes, ooh, that's the truth. You know, you ready for that? We all knew that people were not going to understand it, but we knew it was the truth. I showed two of my other very loving, full of full of love friends, full of the Spirit friends and family, and they were like, wow, this is powerful, you have to share this. And I was like, damn, part of me was looking for them to be like, no girl, don't share it, and everybody's just like, you have to. And I was like, everybody's saying do it, but I'm the one who's going to get, you know, I'm the one who's going to have to deal with these people's comments. And I shared it, and I dealt with some comments, but through the dealing with that darkness, I was able to dig and find light, okay, find the love and build strong relationships with some people, okay. So that being said, I'm just sharing with you, that was my wrestling, okay. That was my wrestling, just like yesterday. I think someone said it's yesterday, so day before yesterday. And Spirit said, you know, share about the tree and the roots. So anyways, I went and I went to sleep and I woke up. My husband had gotten up early. He was doing some work. And I messaged and said, babes, I'm going to stay in and do my meditation. And I was thinking of the beautiful people that I had come to meet since I shared that video about practicing the presence of God. And I was giving thanks for them and praying for them. And it came to me, I had a song that I was kind of singing in my spirit. And I thought, oh, let me put on this other song. And Spirit said, why are you going to put on another song when you have a song in your spirit already? So I put on a song that was in my spirit. It's a song by a man called Jason Upton called In Your Presence. And I put on that song and it was just like playing there. And I had my phone face down. I was just, the song was playing. I was talking to God and everything. And talking about the same stuff, you know, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop bugging you for confirmation and everything. And next thing I know, at some point in there, I must have fallen asleep, you know, I dozed off. And then I came back to, and when I came back to, it was like my body fell asleep, but my spirit obviously didn't fall asleep because when I came back to, it was like, okay, I just continued the conversation. I was like, okay, that's right. I'm going to do it. It's settled. And I was just like, I'm not going to ask for any confirmation anymore. I'm going to take the step. I understand it. I know what you're calling me to do. It was like this clarity, right? And I said, yep, I will do the video. I'll talk about the love, the roots, the tree, this and that, explain to him about Christ and God and how I see it now. Yep, I'm going to do that. As soon as I finished saying that, there was another song that was playing. Random songs are playing, right? I chose the first song, but it was like Spotify, so they're choosing other songs for me. And it's like my ear tuned in to the instrumental, and then the man started saying, um, I want to be unmovable, unshakable. I don't know if these are the words. I want to hear the song that time. But he's saying, I want to be like a tree planted by living water. I want my roots to go down deep. I said, oh my God. I paused it. I grabbed my phone. I paused it right there because I said, I got it. I'm pausing it right there so my husband could hear exactly what I just heard. I paused it and I looked, and the song was called Tree. And I just started bawling because I said, you know what? God is so sweet. I made the step, I made the big girl step to agree with you, right? I was talking to Mosai, and you still gave me confirmation. You still did it. Like, you're so loving. You're just, oh, how can I ever turn? You know, it's like you just, So my husband came in and I shared it all with him. And it's like, it's one thing if that was my playlist. I don't even know these people, this group. I don't know them from anywhere. I do not know them. Maybe I'll put a link to their song in here after. I don't know them. And then after, I was talking to a beautiful man who connected with me because of one of my videos. And I was sharing with him how that, I was talking to him about the story. I was telling him this testimony about the tree and the video, whatever. And then I realized, I was saying, I can't remember, because he was talking to me about practicing the presence and all of that. And I was saying, I can't remember where I even found out about Brother Lawrence from. That's the man who the book is about, right? The practice of the presence of God. And then immediately Spirit brought to my mind the song that you first wanted to listen to while I was thanking God for the people who had received that message of practicing the presence of God. The song that was playing in my heart was a song called In Your Presence. The person who wrote that song is a man by the name of Jason Upton. I chose to play that song. It's that man, he's a worship leader, I believe, Jason Upton, who, when I say I believe, I know he was then, I don't know what he's doing now, but it's that man, Jason Upton, that mentioned one day on stage about Brother Lawrence. And it's because of this guy that I went and I got the Brother Lawrence book 18 years ago and read it. And it's like, because I chose that song, it led to all the other songs, and then finally to that tree song that happened to come on just when I was finished talking to Most High and saying, okay, I'm going to share the video about the tree. Fine. And I'm not going to question you anymore. I'm not going to ask for confirmation 100 times, you know? So, guys, in our darkest time, love is there. Love is there. We just have to know it's there. And if you know something is there, just think of it. If you don't know something is there, then you kind of aren't sure where you should look. You're looking with a little bit of doubt, right? You're looking with some doubt. You're not sure if it's there. If you know for a fact that, like I gave this example in the video, if you know for a fact you were on the phone talking to somebody and you came and you sat down and then you started a video, you started watching something, you know that you were just talking to this person. Oh, you can't find the phone. You know the phone's not over there. You know the phone is not outside. You didn't leave the phone in the store because you know you just had the phone talking to the person. You know the phone is right here somewhere. If that wasn't the case, you would not have known if the phone was around you. So you might have gotten up, go check the kitchen, go check the shed, go check the field, go check the washroom. You're going to go trace your steps, go back to the store, all of these things because you don't know where the phone is. Of course, you might try to call the phone. But anyways, right? You don't know where the phone is. If you know the phone is there, you're very focused and you're like, I know you're here. I sat down and I was talking. You're here. You must be under the computer. You must be under the mouse pad. Boom, you find the phone. This is how it is with Most High. It says, to come to God, you must first believe that God is, and that God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek God. The first thing is you have to know that God is, which means you have to know that the phone is right here. And that if I look for the phone, because I know it is right here, I shall find the phone. So if you know that God is real, God is love, God is a very present help in the time of trouble. God is. If you know that God is, that means you know it's right here. It's only a matter of time until you tap in. It's only a matter of time until you get the help. It's only a matter of time until the confusion goes away. It's only a matter of time until you get answer to the prayer. It's only a matter of time because you know that God is right here and God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek God. That's it. That's it. Now, someone might say, you have to do this in the name of. Here's what I'm saying to you. I did not call on no name of anything or anybody, and God saved me. Help me out of my darkness. How can I, with my knowing, tell anybody that in order for God to hear them or to help them, that they have to call on a certain name? No, I would be saying that because I read that shit somewhere, and I'm saying it like that purposely. For me to say that, it wouldn't be because of a knowing. It would be because I read it somewhere and someone's doctrine is telling me that I have to say that. No, never. I speak of what I know. I know that if you come and if you call out to God with a pure heart, pure doesn't mean you do no sin. Pure means your calling out to God is pure. Actually wanting the help to do right, God will hear you. I know that, so I could say that. I'll say what I know. And if you know something else, you say that. But don't come and tell me to say something you know. I will never say what you know. I will say what I know. Okay? So sorry, got a little bit heated there. I'm so tired of people wanting me to have their faith. I can't have your faith. I have the faith that God has given me. And I will continue to have that faith because it's based on reality. That's what it's based on. It's not based on what I read somewhere. It's based on what I know. So I will only ever tell you guys what I know. I won't tell you what I don't know or what I suspect unless I say, hey, I suspect this. You'll know it's a suspicion and not a knowing, okay? And even if I know something, you should still not go on what I know because that's my knowing. Each person has to live up to the light which is in them own self. Whatever light which is within you, that's the light that you're going to have to be accountable for. I have a certain light and a measure of faith within my own self. I have to live up to that. You only have to live up to yours, not mine, not somebody else's. God is not going to meet you and say, why didn't you act like Yandea? Because you didn't have Yandea's life, nor did you have Yandea's understanding, nor did you have Yandea's experience. You had yours. You're going to be accountable for yours. Don't let anybody judge you. That's why it's important to stop looking on the outside and just to look on the inside. Deal with whatever God has been bringing you to, whatever lessons you're supposed to be learning, learn them. Apply that. And above all, figure out how to love and how to remove the blockages that are hindering you from loving, right? And if you just pray from a pure heart and say, Most High, creator of my spirit, creator of heaven and earth, how do I remove the blockages that are stopping me from loving how you love? And if you know, you will find Most High will lead you. If Most High has to lead you to a religion, Most High will lead you to religion. If Most High has to lead you to Christ, to Jesus or Yeshua, whatever the case is, your Most High will do that. But that's nobody's business but between you and God. You get what I'm saying? Is that clear? Does that make sense? Oh my gosh. So guys, I'm just going to check the comments and see if I'm missing any questions. Do you have any questions for me? I can't believe I've been talking for a long time now, but let me just double check. I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'm just going to wait a little bit, guys, and I will post the name of those two songs. I'll post a link to In Your Presence by Jason Upton, and also to the Tree song. I think it's just called Tree. And it's by, let me just tell you, give me 1 second. It should be on my phone. I should save it, right? I should save it. Okay. The song is called Tree by Justin Rizzo. I would really play it for you guys, but I don't know how the copyright thing works. I'm not trying to like get in trouble. But it's the Tree. It's called Tree by Justin Rizzo. Thank you very much for that song. It's been a blessing. And okay, but I'll still post it there. And also the book I mentioned is a book called Practice of the Presence of God. And it's about Brother Lawrence. Okay, let's see. There's a question here from Dwayne. What is the moment in your life where you felt the greatest love of God, the most intimate? See, I think this video is like over an hour already. Okay, what is the moment in your life when you felt the greatest love of God, the most intimate expression of love? Wow. That would have to be meeting my husband. Yep. You just have all these questions want to stir up emotions. That would have to be meeting my husband. Trying to hold it in. I'll have to be meeting my husband. Meeting my husband. So much is running through my heart right now. Initially, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna make this story so short. I'm gonna skip over all the juice and all the goodness, but I can't just say my husband, just meeting my husband. I'm letting y'all know this is the juiciest love story ever. I know there's others, but mine is the juiciest, okay? When I was 14, I went to my cousin's house. I'm never allowed to sleep over anywhere, but went to my cousin's house, and I got woken up, with this feeling of I'm gonna meet a boy. I'm gonna meet a boy. This is a special boy. I didn't know nothing about husband. I just felt like I'm gonna meet this boy, and I had this feeling inside like this boy was special. And it might be teenage, hormones raging, but I woke up with this feeling like, go outside, you're gonna meet him, you're gonna see him. So I got my cousin, I was like, listen, we gotta go to the store. I need to go to the store. And then she's like, okay, whatever, we got ready and we were walking to go to the store, but I'm looking for this boy. And I passed this guy, Okay, past this, he's walking, I pass him. And I look into his eyes, he looks into my eyes, and I felt so naked. I felt like this boy just seen all of me, like he like weird. This boy seen everything. Like I felt naked. And it was a really weird feeling, you know, at that time, 14, like a boy seeing you naked. That would, remember, I told you guys how I was raised. So that was like not cool. And I got into the store and there was no other boys. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I had a thought of him because he's, you know, it was a weird feeling. It didn't feel nasty. It just, I felt naked, you know, I'm shy. So I came back, walking back the same direction, and I was looking for him and I couldn't find him anywhere. Okay. Fast forward, that's when I was 14. Every boyfriend, anyone I've met, okay, from that time until meeting my husband, I'd always say to them, you can't see me. I know you can't see me. You can't see me. I could tell you, I knew that those relationships were not going to last because they could not see me. At the age of 14, I had experienced what it was like for someone to see my soul, to look into my eyes and to see me. I experienced that. Couldn't find him anywhere though. So I ended up, let's say in 2020, I was doing my meditation and I would go into meditation, my son and I. Anyways, I'm trying to like go fast. So there's so much goodness, but I'm going to fast forward. Going into meditation, I ended up writing, like every time I'd go into meditation, I would get visions. And I kept going for like 3 months. I kept going to the same place every time I would go into meditation. So then finally, Spirit said to me, you need to take what you're seeing, find pictures that look exactly like it, and you need to put it in in a book. So I went and I started printing out, like first it took a very long time to find pictures that looked exactly like what I was seeing, putting it into this book, and I kept that book secret, right? And there's a person on here who used to be around when I would be secretly at work printing out printing out colored pictures on the people's printer. Anyhow, so I have a witness in this chat. Okay, I should have been doing work, but I was like secretly printing out and cutting out pictures and sticking it in this book. I said, God told me I had to do this, so I was doing it. Let me gather myself. Okay. Anyhow, so then there's someone I had met. Okay, goodness, but I got to skip it. There's someone I met years before, and we never got to connect. We actually just met online, never saw each other, nothing. And then one day I was doing a live on Instagram, and this one person came on the live, and it happened to be this guy that I met years ago. And I felt the presence of God. I could feel the ancestors. It's like angels were flying with my car. And because I was, you know, my phone was on and I was driving from an event and I was talking, right? Well, I wasn't driving, I was in the passenger seat, but going from this event. So I was on my live. And I said to this person, I said, I don't know what it is, but I could feel the presence literally of God and our ancestors all around. And there must be something we have to do, okay? Because this doesn't just happen like that. There's something we have to do. And he said, I kid you not, I'm on my toilet, and I feel the same thing. And we just had a big laugh. So I said, okay, we'll get together soon. The next day I went to a meeting, and the meeting was downtown. And when I went, I was running late. So I rushed into the meeting. I just sat at like the empty spot that was there at a table. And when I sat at the spot, the guy said to me, wow, I didn't think we would meet this soon. And I'm like, what? And it was the guy from my life, the guy who I felt all that God energy, ancestor, everything around. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I said, you know what? We need to meet. So he came to my office. And when he came to my office, he said, I knew you from somewhere. And I said, what? And he was asking me, what were you doing in like 2013 and whatever? Anyhow, we ended up discovering that we're trying to work at the same place, this whole online thing, whatever. We didn't end up getting the contract, but that's where we met back in 2013. And this is now 2018, right? That I'm meeting him again. And so we're like, that's so weird. Spirit says, show him your book. I said, what? That's my private book with my pictures. Show him your book. I said, okay. I showed him my book. I showed him all the pictures. He says, wow, this is like really nice. He goes, you know, my dream is to be a farmer. And Spirit, this whole name I have, dream manifestation specialist, this is all from Spirit. So I said, well, I'm a dream manifestation specialist. I could help you manifest your dreams. And he goes, well, you know, he wants to be a farmer. I said, well, this vision, there's a farm here, but I know I'm not the one doing the farming, but there's a farm here in this place. This is my property. This is where I'm going to be manifesting. Everything I'm doing is to manifest this place. I'm going to have a healing center. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Okay. He's like, wow. So I said, maybe you're the farmer for my place. And I said, I could help you. So we became friends right then and there. Fast forward, that's 2018. Fast forward to 2020. This guy contacts me and he says, you need to come to this place. I said, where is it? It's like 20 minutes from where you live now. I said, okay. He goes, tell me about your vision again. I said, what vision? He goes, the one you always talk about, the one in your book. I said, oh, okay, okay. He says, yeah, okay, come. So I'm fast forwarding, guys. I'm fast forwarding. Long story short, I go to the place to meet my friend because he wants to show me something. I go to the place to meet my friend, and the person who's at this place, he ends up coming around the corner. My friend was in there yet, whatever. I'm skipping over stuff. He walks around the corner from the back of the house, and I look at him in his eyes. I can't tell you. It's probably, I think, are Sharon watching this live? I won't say it. You can imagine what I'm holding back. All of my woman parts, all of the weight. I didn't know I was carrying a weight. Everything dropped off of me. I felt the heaviest weight drop off of my body. My whole body was lit. Like my whole body was just lit. I can't explain. I looked in this man's eyes, and it was like a fire just caught inside myself. Whoosh. I felt it all in my parts everywhere, and a weight just dropped. Like that fire just dropped. That weight just dropped off of me. And I knew in that moment that I would be okay to be on earth. I knew in that moment. I knew in that moment that I felt safe immediately. And okay, more juice I gotta pass over. But basically he says to me, I'm leaving out so much of the goodness, guys. I wish I could tell you everything, but maybe one day I'll tell the whole love story. But he says to me, don't you remember me? I said, you look so familiar. I know you from somewhere. Maybe it's a past life. He goes, when you were 14, you were walking with a brown girl. It's my cousin, right? She's Indian. Says, you were walking with a brown girl in Markham. You don't remember? Immediately, I said, oh my gosh, I remember. Like, this is the guy that I saw when I was 14. He's the one who could see me. And he's like, I've been looking for you. I've been looking for him too. I've been looking for him too. Is this? And I was 14, and I was now 39 years old. 39 years old. And in this man, I kid you not, sometimes women were in church and stuff, and we're like, honestly, we're in love with Yeshua. Oh, if only I could get a husband like Yeshua. I'm telling you, in my husband is manifested the love of God. I kid you not. The way my husband loves me, the way my husband loves the children that I even had before ever meeting him, is the love of God. That man loves me. That man loves me like, I pray now that every woman finds a man like him. I feel like, and I don't know, I'm guessing I can't really talk about this without getting emotional, but people who know, who have met him, who have met us, that man is a man. He's a man's man. And he loves me like a man is supposed to love a woman. He loves me to the point where I could be a woman. I could be fully in my feminine. I don't have to have on this masculine energy. Of course, we all have a little masculine and feminine energy. It has to be there. It's a balance. But I get to be a woman. I get to be a mother, not a mother and a father. I get to be a mother. I get to be a wife. I get to be a lover. I get to be a friend. You understand? So I am forever grateful, because I didn't know in my life, after everything I've gone through a lot in 41 years. I never knew that God would come down in the form of a man and be my husband. And that is literally how I feel about my husband. I look at my husband and I see the love of God loving me, because that's how my husband loves me perfectly. And he's the one who's pushed me literally to be on here. I don't want to be on here. I know God said I had to be on here, but he's the one who's like, Yandea, you have a gift, you have a calling, you got to do this. You help people. That's my husband. All the thanks you guys give me, it's him. It's him. It's him. All when I wanted to stop because of negativity, it's him, holding me up, covering me. You don't see him online, but it's him. So, love of God. I don't know if you guys feel it, but yeah. Let me read. I know the love doesn't change, but your experience of it. Okay. So, guys, I'm not sure if there's more questions. He said, I feel it. Anybody else feel it? Is it just Dwayne and I in the fields? Yes, yes, you bear witness to this truth. Anybody who's ever met him, who's ever met us, this man is a good man. He's a great man. Honestly, he may not be perfect for everybody, but he's perfect for me. God knows me. I mean, you people who know me, oh, Yandea has a gift, Yandea, whatever. So imagine the kind of man that God would have to give me. I feel like, and he loves. I have 5 children from my previous marriages. He loves all of them. He's taken in all of them and loves them as his own. Do you understand what I'm saying? This man, because he sees me and because he saw me from then, he understands that my situation is the circumstances of life and of things going ways that they went that they shouldn't have gone, but they went. You understand? Love covers a multitude of sin. And you know what sin is? Sin is missing the mark. Sin is failing at loving. So true love covers a multitude of all the times that you failed at loving. He loves me completely. If I ever could say I know the love of God in my life, it's being demonstrated by my husband. And I wish that for all women. Honestly, I think that if more women had fathers and husbands and brothers like my husband, I feel like the world would be a much better place. Because it helps you to be a woman. It's hard to be a woman when there's not men around you, to make you feel safe enough to be a woman. Then you feel like you have to be a man too. And it's not blaming men, it's not blaming women. It's a whole thing. It's like, what came first, the egg or the chicken? You understand what I'm saying? It's all of us, but we have to come to a place where we start realizing that we are different and we honor our differences. I was telling my cousin the other day, I am so glad that I am a woman. I would never want to be a man in this life. A real man in this life? Hell no. My husband wakes up every day and does what he has to do, and I don't have to worry. I just take care of my children. I do this, all the other things I love to do. I get to live the life that I love. I have my farm, my animals, and I'm here. And he's busting his ass, busting his ass, busting his ass, protecting us, providing. I would not want to be in his shoes. I am the blessed one. Trust me on that. So, um, what else? Thanks for sharing your testimony. You're welcome. I had absolutely no idea what I was going to share. I was actually a bit very much worried because I'm like, no one's on yet. Next Sunday, I want to encourage somebody watching this to please contact me to share your story. You guys got so many stories for me. See, I was trying to just share one. You got so many. I feel like now you know everything, okay? But please, if you think that my testimony was helpful to you, pay it forward by sharing yours with us also, okay? I'm gonna just wait a little bit to see if there's anything else that I need to, and I don't want to stop the live and there's more questions, but there's a little delay. So I'm just gonna take a look. Um, and the good thing is that if you come on the live, guess what? I'm here all by myself trying to wing this. Okay. You have me with you. I'll be right here with you. I could ask you some questions. I could just let you talk, whatever you want. I'll be with you. See, you're not alone. I'm here all by myself doing it like a big girl. I actually have my friend Dwayne on here for moral support. I just realized, Dwayne, you're not on here, but you're on here. He's on the Zoom, but he's like in the background. And he's also on here. You know what, Dwayne? I'll probably make you moderator because you're so good at this stuff. Yes. I always say like Dwayne is like my scribe. He's my longest friend that's stick close by my side. And there's so many things that's happened, miraculous things, and I'm always like, where's Dwayne? Because Dwayne, you were there. And he's like, yep, this is what happened. I always say he's like my scribe. He knows like all of my life, and he's witnessed a whole bunch of it, okay, so I don't think there's any more questions. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my testimony. The things that God has done in my life are literally the most precious things for me, especially giving me my husband and my children, and all of this that I could share with you. So please respect it, and don't only respect my testimony, whether you agree with it or not. The other people who will be coming on here and sharing, the reason that they're sharing is because they're sharing in hopes of helping you and helping others get through their dark time, with the hopes of helping to increase faith, and just so that we could know that we're not alone in this world, we're not alone in this walk, in this spiritual journey. We may have different ways that we get there, but we're all trying to get to the same place. We're all trying to manifest our highest selves. So be kind. It doesn't take anything from you. Just be kind. If you don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. Just let people share. And if it doesn't resonate with you, just move on. Click to the next thing. That's it. Okay? Why hinder your own walk? Remember, when you throw something out there that's negative, all you're doing is giving that same negative energy permission to come back into your life. Why do it? Okay? So that being said, guys, remember, it is my joy to help you manifest your dream life and your highest self. I hope to see you again next week, Sunday at 7:30 for more love stories. Bye-bye.